So CVCheck is in the background screening business. If somebody is working in the financial sector, basically they're looking to onboard people and know quite a bit about them for compliance reasons, but also to know that they've got the right candidate. When we look at the business itself, it's a resilient business model with high annual returning revenues. We've got a very diverse revenue profile with more than 7,000 B2B customers coming to us every year, and in excess of 100,000 individuals separately to that every year. Our focus is on enterprise clients to deliver sustaining growth. We're in a strong cash position, no debt, strong balance sheet. Our cash flow was neutral across the past 5 quarters and slightly positive across all of calendar year 19. We invest in technology to support the people side of our business. So customer experience is a very, very key focus for us. Our go-to-market is fairly simple. Our first phase was direct organic, whereby we have direct B2B sales and marketing plans. And then from that same stream, we also pick up the individual traffic who order through us. And more recently, we've been launching and investing in partner technology integrations because that widens and broadens the market that we can address, and we couple that with still that direct end customer relationship build. Coming on to our revenues, I think it's important right now for people to understand how resilient these are. So we've got a very broad client base, very diverse industry coverage. Those sectors currently most COVID-19 affected, such as hospitality, tourism, retail and education, were very small, perhaps 7% of our business in the 12 months to the beginning of this month. And you can see also that we have very well-supported care sector and government business, which is where we're seeing spend across the economy in these most recent 2 weeks. Our recent achievements on the integration side are with Xref. We launched the best in service solution for candidate verification across Australia and New Zealand. It's a good partnership. We're already seeing revenues booked from that. We've had affirmed this week, and we'll be releasing information on this in coming weeks, that we are the first background screening company across the Asia Pac region to integrate with LinkedIn's Talent Hub. It was an interesting and very challenging process, and our technology team and marketing team have done a brilliant job there in reaching this point. So we're very proud of them for this. More recently, we've been also adding a white label solution to help our larger enterprises, but also look to help other businesses in our line across Australia and New Zealand. We have been achieving top line growth on the B2B side. You see New Zealand there with 30%, and we're looking to replicate that in the Australian business and are showing signs of doing so. Our gross margins are expanding. I'll come on to the reason behind that, but we've reached 56%, which is a substantial lift. And across the bulk of 2019, we've been increasing our growth potential, culminating in completing our recruitment of our executive leadership group. A little about our technology platform. It's very important to enable a really good candidate experience for our customers. So to talk to this slide, it's very, very tech. You could end up in here for years and not really cover it. So I think it's probably best that I cover this from the viewpoint of the benefits of this. Those of you that are out there in the world now will understand that cloud infrastructure means that you can go up and down in scale rapidly. And more recently, we've gone containerized serverless and microservices architectures. Now these benefit us from the viewpoint that for microservices, we can much easier teach new developers parts of our system that they need to alter the code in, and we can much easier train and maintain the system on that basis. With our integrations and the investment in that, what that enables is much faster plug-in builds to the back-end systems that drive enterprise. And what we've been able to do here is now integrations which formerly would have taken months are now able to be done by one of our developers in a matter of hours. And we continually notice that partners are impressed by the speed and ease at which they can build to our back end. Privacy, security are embedded by design, and coupled with workflow automation, we end up with this really seamless, highly efficient delivery of service to our customers. So how the system looks more graphically is that we've embedded privacy in this triangle in the middle, where the individual and business customers can secure information, can share information in a secure environment, which is very compliant with privacy protection regimes like GDPR in Australia and New Zealand's privacy regs. It's really important, and it's growing in importance in a web-connected world. On the right-hand side, you can see some of the connectors and integrations that we've built to help our customers and embed ourselves into their processes. These are very successful. The most recent large announcement that we had was with Xref, another firm who are in an adjacent space to us, who are also listed on the ASX. But we have others which preceded that. Our relationship with PageUp is very strong, JobAdder, SnapHire in New Zealand, and then more recently, Smart Recruiters, and we're working along now with Workday. But these open up the landscape for us, and we'll come on to that a little later. So what is background screening and verification? I think it's very important that people understand that this is not new. The actual core need for this dates back to the times when people were exchanging labour in the field. It's just that now it's a lot harder to see in a service-based environment what a person's actual skills and capacities are. And as a result of that, and the fact that there's high salaries involved in many jobs, there is the temptation of humans to resort to lying or stretching the truth. So here are some stats as to how much that happens. I think this is a major driver, and it leads to compliance needs and drivers of compliance mandating that people do screening. And clients come to us so that they can be sure that they've got a clear candidate picture, and therefore they can use the facts and data to assess and confirm the history of that candidate and their diligence. That gives them a read on their cultural fit and the sorts of values that person has in the workplace. And rescreening helps reaffirm that. Some of our clients include these names: large telcos, labour hire businesses, financial firms, utilities, and so on. And they're amongst the many that we serve. There are thousands of customers that have come to rely and enjoy the services of CVCheck across Australia and New Zealand and internationally. And it's been an interesting ride, but it's now showing out. Our theory is showing out, and this is now proven business. So we'll get into the metrics which show that. So our key metrics on revenue are such that you can see it's been rising strongly. Our B2B revenues are consistently growing. We have good cash performance, and our annual returning revenue that's been booked to the 12 months of December 19 was 9.8 million. That's up from 9.2 at the end of June last year. So it's a good sustained performance, and we're looking to accelerate that. Margins are also expanding, and that is because CVCheck is a wide product provider, and we've now been doing bundled sales in New Zealand for a long time. That was how we launched. The opportunity lies in Australia, and the performance that we're seeing in Australia is now driving that growth in group revenue from other products other than criminal history. So product diversity, this bundling, gives a clearer candidate picture for the client, and for us, it leads to slightly wider and widening margins. Now, the net effect of those revenue growth and the increased margins and our knowledge about our business has led to sustained improvements in free cash flow. We had our maiden cash positive result in Q2, and we're net cash positive across calendar year 2019. So we've positioned ourselves really well to be cash neutral and able to grow, and that was pre-COVID, so we'll go on to that now. So what's happening next? Essentially, we've got the elephant in the room is COVID-19. We adapted very rapidly to these evolving conditions. We've made preemptive communications to staff, customers, investors, suppliers, starting from the beginning of the week, more than 2 weeks ago. The things that we're seeing is that our sectoral exposure is minimal to those that are experiencing large downside risks, such as education, hospitality, gaming and retail. And our order flows for care and government are surging, certainly in these past several weeks, but more notably last week and this week. We were able to make work adjustments very rapidly to deal with the need for social isolation. We have now home-based office use is at 95% with 100% capability. We're conducting all of our meetings by phone and video. We cancelled work-related plane travel several weeks ago now, and we recognise the need to keep people informed, but with what we've seen so far, there has not been significant business impact, and so for continuous disclosure reasons, we've not really had to go out and make ASX announcements. We'll keep people posted on how things are evolving, but so far we are right on top of the issue. We get daily information from our business, and we're well placed to deal with the evolving circumstances. So in summary, I'd just like to wrap up about CVCheck. We're an HR tech business in people screening and verification. It has been a sustainable, growing, organic business where B2B is the primary growth engine. B2C remains important to us and it's part of the candidate experience. And we've been leveraging our market position via tech through integrations with partners and white label initiatives. We have been analysing the potential for strategic acceleration. We're in a very strong cash position and we have no debt. And our market cap at the moment is around 17.5 million. You can see some stats here which spell out quite the state of play in the current market conditions, and it's certainly a place where you can look to and monitor to park your money. I'd like to hand back to the team to give us questions.
All good, thanks, Rod. We've got one from Charles saying, what's been the growth in margin?
So the growth in margin has gone from 54% across financial year 19 to, in the half year, we reached 56%. So it's quite an expansion. It's been driven by the continued performance in New Zealand, but the increasing penetration of Australian bundled check sales.
And will growth in customer usage increase during COVID-19? Obviously, you've got to be careful in terms of continuous disclosure there, Rod, but
yeah, so what we're seeing up until Sunday night is the best information, and March was as solid as what we've seen ever in our time. However, we're not planning for that to be the perpetual state of being. I think that we will see increased volatility in customer usage, and we've already got advanced planning to take out costs so that we can deal with a significant downturn should it arrive.
And then Charles again mentioned LinkedIn integration. Can you talk more about that?
We will be releasing information about that in coming weeks, Charles. The great news is that LinkedIn have given us approval to advise customers. We're finalising the accreditation process and we're looking to be live as soon as that completes, which is imminent. It's very exciting.
And is there significant competition in the space, and how are you positioned comparatively?
Yes, there is, and we are positioned very well to illustrate how well we do and how challenging we are to compete with. We went from 0.4% market share 4 years ago to now over 5% in what we know, and we're unlocking new parts of the addressable market through this integration partnership channel. It's a way that we can leverage our position substantially, and we're pursuing it with some gusto. Sorry, Simon, I can't hear you.
Sorry, Rod, can you hear me?
Still can't hear you. Now I can, yes.
So if you didn't earn a cent for 6 months, how low could your costs go?
I'm not going to comment on that right now. We are not seeing things like that for the moment. We've allowed for our revenues to dip by 25% in the first instance, and then the next modelling is at 50%. The modelling on the 25 is clear, and we're able to do that very quickly. And indeed, we've started that process now. Beyond that, I can't say.
I suppose the only other point to consider just on that one is just your exposure in terms of the government and care. That it's very unlikely, it's technically impossible.
So it's a substantial part of our business, and we see that so far what's happening is in the care and government sectors generally, the surge there is offsetting what we're seeing as weakness from other sectors that we have exposure to. But it will evolve day by day. I think it's important to understand that there's a series of shocks to the workplace which are occurring as governments lock down, we get used to remote working, and so on. We are fortunate enough not to have had that because we're prepared for these and we work remotely. We certainly understand that other companies will need to get to grips with that.
And from Omar, have you thought about teaming up with WorldCheck?
There are a number of people out there, Omar. In the States, there are something like 2,000 firms, and there's a large number of people in the UK and Europe. Yes, we do look at those. Indeed, we currently service a number of international screening players now. WorldCheck is just one of a multitude of names that are out there that we currently work with. There are some where we may examine strategic partnerships, and similar to that of Xref, we will announce those as they evolve.
And the final question from Charles: you raised money at higher prices earlier, stock's obviously lower, have lots of cash, would you consider a buyback?
That's a matter for the board to consider. I think that given the COVID-19 backdrop, cash is a primary consideration. I think that the assurance that people really need is, are we looking to raise? The answer at the moment is we don't see any need to, and we'll keep everybody appraised as we go.
Great. It's been nice and efficient, Rod. Well and truly comprehensive. If there's any other questions, obviously we've got the email there and Rod's phone number as well. But thanks all for joining, and thank you, Rod.
Fantastic. Thanks everybody for watching, and enjoy the rest of the day.